The Mustang got some new headers. The Mustang got new headers, and this is pretty much the unboxing. Well, I admit I kind of already took it out of the box, but kind of give you a preview. This is from Speed Engineering. And I bought a set of their stainless steel headers that's meant for a 1964 to 1966 Mustang with a Coyote swap using a Mustang 2 style suspension from Heights or TCI. And as you guys know, I'm rocking the Rod & Custom Motorsport. So there's a few spots, and I'll point them out while the headers are out of the car. I'll point out the spots that might need some massaging, and I'll point those out. But first, we're going to show you what these headers look right out of the box and what comes with them. So we're also going to be looking, like right now, the welds look pretty darn good. I mean, they don't look bad, and we'll go over pricing and all that for all this, and you'll know why this is such a great deal. Now, of course, you get the long tube headers, and what's cool about these headers is they do have already the O2 bung welded on. Now, they kind of leave it up to you of how you want to attach the rest of your exhaust to these headers, whether you want to do a V-band, that's what I decided to go with, or if you want to go with a nice ball and socket, put a flange, whatever the case may be, you basically have that freedom, when you order these, you can kind of do it. Now, what they don't have is there's supposed to be another O2 bung, I think, on one of these headers, but it's supposed to be for the factory location. It would be on one of the primaries. Same on the other side. There would be a bung on the other side of one of the primaries, and that would be how the factory places the O2 sensor. But of course, this is definitely far from factory, and so there's no provisions there, so I don't have to plug them off, which is nice. So, but we do have it, which we do need at least one of them. But if it's got to be one of them, might as well put it at the collector. Now, what else do you get when you order these headers? Well, you get a set of gaskets and hardware. Now, you got to be careful with the hardware, because depending on the year, because I have a Gen 1 Mustang, Gen 1s had different thread pitches for the bolts that were used to bolt the exhaust manifold to the engine. So if these work, sure, we'll use them. If not, it's not the end of the world to reuse the hardware that's already on the car. Now, they do have these like perforated gaskets. I am not a fan of these gaskets, but as you can see, it looks like shipping, because I know Speed Engineering did not send this like this, but shipping was not nice to them, so I'm definitely not going to be using those gaskets. I'll show you what I am using in a sec though. Now, there's options when you order these headers. One of the options is I decided to go with the V-band flanges and clamp, and that's going to be my method of bolting the headers to the rest of the exhaust. So if I undo this right here, I'll show you kind of how this works. Super nice flange. So when you have this guy, there's going to be a male and a female end. So obviously this is the male, and this is the female, where it has that kind of recessed lip right there. And so when you get them all bolted up nice, they seal up, come together like so, and then the clamp squeezes them together to make sure that exhaust passes through and doesn't leak out. And so then that will kind of go back to each flange, and obviously, you know, that clamps. Now, just making sure that I have full transparency with you guys of what parts I am using. Here is the part number for the exhaust manifold gasket that I'm using. It's a real nice one from Ford. You can see the Fomoco right there. Super nice. Like I said, it has, I don't know what that coating is. I don't know if it's like a graphite or some kind of coating, but I think it helps to seal it. I know it feels kind of soft to the touch when you actually touch them, but it is a multi-layered steel gasket. You can kind of hear it when it kind of taps down. And that's what I'm actually going to be using for whenever I bolt up these headers. I got these from LMR. Pretty good price. I think it was like 50 bucks for the pair, and they came in real quick. All right, let's not kid ourselves. The gaskets are not the only thing I'm going to be substituting that Speed Engineering had provided, and I'm going to go ahead and use a different V-band clamp. These are from Monkey Fab Garage. I think they're actually cheaper than the Speed Engineering ones. But here is why I love the Monkey Fab Garage V-band clamps over what Speed Engineering provided. Now, if we look at Speed Engineering, it is a nice, good, reliable. It cinches down, you tighten the bolt, and you kind of get the picture. It squeezes, right? However, I even already put this in here so that I can kind of get an idea. It will snug up, it will tighten, and it will clamp these together real well. But the cool part about the Monkey Fab Garage one is this little feature right here. It's got this little latch so that when you do get enough slack, you could just quick disconnect this thing, and that saves so much time than running down one of the nuts on the stud there. So it's convenient, it's quicker, and these feel better. I don't know how to explain it. They do. So, and seeing that they also kind of fit and work with the flanges, I think I'm gonna roll with it that way. So that's pretty much the update for the exhaust. I literally just got these guys in here. Now, looking into the pricing for these things, because I know that's one thing that everybody is curious about, right? So the headers that are on the car, the Doug's headers, Doug's headers by Petronix, they're mild steel, they've warped, and that's really kind of the pain right there, is that they're warped. They are a carbon steel. So like if I get like this magnet right here, I can show you that this is a mild steel. You heard that? You heard that? That is a mild steel in there, and it is got a ceramic coating on it. Now, as you can see, I'm not going to get in there to polish it. It's a little cloudy, but yeah, if you polished it, sure, it would shine right on up. I feel that because it's a mild steel, that is easier to warp. And I'm gonna get to another point too about how these are made versus those are made. For the most part, the routing of the primaries, identical. From my memory, they're identical. When we actually pull those guys off, we'll put them side by side to these and really compare. But based off how I remember it, oh yeah, that is. These have the V-band clamp. I was okay with it. They worked fine. Other than that, I had the O2 extensions for them to go to the collector, just like these will. Now, the flange, both of them have this one-piece flange, right? Obviously, the one in there, it's no longer straight like this one. But one thing to note is when I do pull them off, I'll show you. This area right here around the exhaust port on the Doug's header, it's actually raised. And you could see that on the front one, it was worn down. And that part either warped or got worn away, or I don't know. But that's where it's leaking. These, obviously, they're not raised. It's all one flat piece. So I'm pretty excited. I'm thinking that's going to do better for sealing. Also, just as a quality check, so here's an old Coyote gasket. If I were to put that guy right there, you know, everything lines up. Everything lines up, you know, pretty darn good. So, as you can see, it's not, it's going to fit when we get underneath there to put them on. So, Doug's headers, they cost $900 for the set that I have on the car. And I was thinking to myself, wouldn't that be just, if I paid another $900 for the same set of headers that, you know, as much driving that I do in the car and the racing, the occasional racing that I do in the car, that would just warp them again. They wouldn't seal. If for some reason I had to do transmission work, swap a clutch, you know, for some reason I would have to pull the header off and it just wouldn't go back onto the motor and seal up. That would just be such a pain. Now, I'm unfamiliar with it. I need to probably go sit down, do some research, and Google it myself. But I have the inkling that the stainless headers will be a little bit more harder and a little bit better heat resistant than the mild steel would be. So that's what got me excited about these. Now, like I said, those headers are $900 for that set. They also come with gaskets. They also come with V-bands. And, of course, the headers. These headers, which come with hardware and the gaskets, is $350. Wild. That's retail. Because I got 1,000 YouTube subscribers, because I'm a nobody, did not give me any type of leniency on pricing. That is what anybody would pay for these headers, $350. And there are options. There's tons of options. So you can option whatever V-band or connection you want to have to come with it so that you plug it in, or I'm sorry, bolt it up to your exhaust. Now, my option was I wanted the V-band flange with the V-band clamp. These were $25 each, so $50. So $350, $50, and then basically shipping and handling was another $50. $450. That's half the price. And you get stainless steel headers, half the price of Doug's, you know, or Petronix long tube headers for a Coyote Swap 65 Mustang. That's a huge deal. Huge. Anyways. So yeah. Now, of course, there's probably other additional costs when you want to kind of really tally things up, like the OEM Ford exhaust manifold gaskets. Those are $50. I've got these guys. I think they're actually but like $30 for these clamps. So, you know, yes, it probably costs a little bit more just so I can have the small details, but still, you come out way ahead of the cost of the Doug's headers using Speed Engineering. And you, like I said, you look at the welds. The welds look good. There's no protruding. There's no sugaring, as you know, some would say for like the interior welds. Like, they look good. So there you have it. I've got the new swap headers. These are probably going to go onto the car this weekend. Yeah, because that's going to be... I really want to fix that damn exhaust leak. But I'm also pretty excited because they look like some nice, decent headers. And I thought, hey, why not pass along the information, the products that I come across that might save a lot of people some money as far as cost for a set of long tube headers. Now, let's also keep in mind, this is not your cheapest option for headers. You know, you could stick with the stock headers and basically cut the flange off and make it to where it'll fit within those frame rails. And boom, you've got headers that either came with the motor, or I think what do they go for, like 75 bucks, 100 bucks on the secondary market if you can find a set someone's trying to get rid of on Facebook Marketplace or something like that. So yeah, so I'm definitely going to get into getting these headers on the car. Keep an eye on the video. I'm going to record it because I'm wanting to definitely share. For those who have a Rod and Custom front suspension, this will let you know before you buy these headers how they fit. So this being the passenger side, the only fitment massaging I needed to do was I flattened this out a little bit, hammered on this elbow, because this is right where that frame rail comes. Right over here, I'll show you. So you can probably see where it's it's flattened over there. Right there at that frame rail. You see that? Yeah. Then on the the driver's side, I think it's this one. I think you got the steering linkage comes right through here, and that guy's got to be dented in. For the install of these headers, we're going to need a little bit of massaging. We'll bolt them up, and we also will need to weld on our V-band flanges onto the collectors. That way we can bolt it up to the exhaust. Now it doesn't stop there, because the exhaust that I have was kind of meant for the Doug's headers, and if these guys route it wider or narrower, well, that means I have to basically cut the exhaust to, you know, match up, line up, and bolt right on in. So there'll be a little bit of fabrication, a little bit of welding. We'll pull out the TIG welder to make all this happen. But keep an eye out for the install video. Should come out probably the next couple of days, because I do plan to probably get right up on this first thing tomorrow morning, and we'll have this install probably knocked out by the weekend. So I appreciate you watching. Go ahead and hit the like button, comment down below, and if you're new here, why don't you think about subscribing, and I will see you guys later.